What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. I just had to do this video briefly. You know, what got you where you are is the result and combination of what you have in here, what you're doing with yourself, how you're working, how you're pushing yourself. And a lot of times what people don't understand is the information you have is nothing without action. But if you got the wrong information and you just push it, it's a recipe for disaster, right? So a lot of times, many of you ask me, what books are you reading? What books did you read? What books did you read? It doesn't matter what books I read, and it does, but, I'm gonna start having a link for you guys to actually go, and in the bottom of this video, it'll be a link where you can see the books I read, right? See the books I read, the books I recommend, and you can grab them. Because even if I give you every single book I read, it is the combination of action, of pushing, that has got me where I am. It's got me the results I have. I know many people with other YouTube channels that are thousands of subscribers bigger than mine, millions of views bigger than mine, but I have some of the highest numbers of people purchasing and taking action. I have countless emails from you guys. I'm trying to figure out how to share some of these things with being respectful of people's privacy, where people are getting results, people are buying rental properties, people are cleaning up getting their business credit moving, because I refer people. And I'm a giver and a taker. And I love saying, here's this information. Have it. You know, have the information I have. Let's see where we can work together. Because I know when I'm in different groups, investment groups, different opportunities, what got the group to where it is, or what got me to where I am, will not be what's going to get me to the next level. And I know that. Without a doubt. I've been in masterminds, I've been in groups, I've paid for services. I've probably put about a good $10,000 over the past 5 years into educating myself on YouTube, marketing, sales, you name it, real estate, you name it. I am willing to pay and push and learn the information. What does that do for you? What does that do for you or do for me? What it does is it's changing me little by little. It's not just a theory once you've done it. It's not just a theory like, well, I think you can do that. Like, no, I've done it, you know. As I'm doing the marijuana course and finishing it out, what I've learned is I actually had to stop, get in my phone and see if I could buy some of these stocks via, I have 7 different apps on my phone, but I've got StockPal, I've got Acorn apps, I got all these StashInvest, I have E-Trade, which is my main baby, and several others on my phone that I practice with to see if what I'm saying is legit. You have to test some of these things out for yourself. If you come with me and say, Erica, but this person over here said to do this. Did you try it? Did you test it out for yourself? Did you see if that information was accurate? Many of you are sharing information that you didn't test. You're sharing information that you didn't do yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, did you do that yourself? Did you fill that out yourself? Did you apply for an LLC yourself? Did you do this? Do not come with some information you Googled off the internet and try to correct me. Because I've done it. You know, there's nothing. Experience is one of the best damn teachers. You know why? Because when people say, oh, Erica, you ought to do this, you ought to do that with your business, you ought to do this other stuff, you ought to, you know, hire all these people, I can tell them I've done the work myself. So I know how much time it should take. I know how much attention it needs, and I'm willing to listen. Because I had a young man who, you know, I'm going to start talking about his channel some too, talking about his platform some too. He was like, hey, why don't you try this to update your Instagram? And you know what? I took 5 minutes, sat down, did it, improvement. See, many people, they want to talk about it. Well, let me read this other book. Let me read this other review. Let me check and see if it's worth it. Instead of testing it out for yourself. I remember talking to someone and saying, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do Meatless May. And they're like, oh, you'll never be able to do it, Erica. What are you talking about? I grew up with a mom for a while who did a lot of meatless dinners. And remember very vividly as a kid, like, oh, yeah, we didn't eat meat that often. Because we just didn't as a family. And so it's not like you will die. There's different opportunities. So when I was in this conversation with this person saying, yeah, I'm going to document it on my other channel. I'm going to also use Blue Apron, a Daily Harvest, and this one other delivery food service, basically, box where you make your food. They were like, oh man, how much is that? I was like, oh, $60 for a week. And they're like, oh, that's just too much. And I'm like, by the time you add up how many times you ate lunch out of work today, out of this week, and you ate out with your spouse, you already spent $60. You know, people are always trying to figure out the cheapest way, the cheaper way to get something. How can I spend $10 and make a difference? And sometimes you have to get the experience. You have to spend the money. I mean, I know people hate hearing that, but sometimes you have to spend the money. You know, instead of saying, well, I read about Acorn App, Erica, or I read about Lending Club. Are you doing it? Do you have 400 notes? When you have 400 notes, please come to me. Tell me, show me where all these people are defaulting. Now, I'm not blind to say that some people have defaulted. I actually know people who, various credit repair people, all these different people talking to me about what they have in their office. So people default on all kind of things. That's not unrealistic. But what's unrealistic is to think you know something and you have no experience in it. Knowledge is powerful, but damn, knowledge ain't nothing if you ain't got no experience. There's some really smart people in this world, and guess what they're doing? Working at Walmart for $10 an hour. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. You gotta work. But to sit here and try to tell somebody who's making $100,000 a year what they need to do with their money, you don't know till you get there. You don't know till you start making $100,000 and have to pay the level of taxes that other people have had to pay, that all of a sudden the light bulb comes on for you. You go, woo! Yeah, you know, because a lot of people say, well, if I had $1 million, I'd do this. If I made $100,000 a year, I'd do that. You do not. What you're saying has no evidence. What you're saying has no proof. You're doing a knowledge conversation, a talk conversation. Talk to me when you make $10,000 in a month and realize how much you have to pay in taxes. Call me when you're ready to talk about that. Many people will say, well, I've got credit, Erica. Let me show you what I got. And they'll show me a gas card. And they'll show me one other thing. And I go, baby, shit, I know 17-year-olds with fleet cards. I know other people that's got $20,000 in credit cards. What are you showing me? You're showing me what people in college can get. True money, true wisdom, true knowledge is when you go, all right, this is what I have. This is what I know. If I don't know enough, I could spoil this money. Many of us right now, I'll give an example. I've talked about the trucking class from Hood Estates, and people are like, why are you talking about trucking? Because if you can put $8,000 down on a truck and your payment's around $800, $900 a month, then your certain level of insurance, I'm not going to go all through it, but is $180. So you're out of pocket $980 to $1,000. But you know that guy drives 4 times a week and you make $1,000 a week after you split with your driver. You do the math on that. $4,000, your split, minus the $1,000 in expenses. That's $3,000 a month that you didn't drive a truck for. You didn't do anything for. That's all the expenses paid. If it needs an oil change or something in the future, some of you with those credit cards could go do that. Say, hey, dude, drive it over here, get the oil change, let's get it done. Tell them to call me so I can pay for it. And keep it moving. But that's the difference in knowing the knowledge, not guessing, not reviewing it, not saying I don't want to do that, but actually buying the knowledge, learning the knowledge, and actually going to speak with people who have done the same process. When it comes to investment groups, you know, or it comes to any of these things I'm talking about in Smartphone Millionaire book and other sources. Well, Erica, I don't want to lose money. You're already losing money. We live in a capitalistic society. You are losing money. You're losing money. And people say, well, everybody should own a business, Erica. Everybody doesn't have to own a business. But the way the economy is, and you see it, 60, 70, 80-year-olds still working jobs. Why? Because the cheese has moved. The cheese has moved. You know, they got years of experience, but they don't have the knowledge. See how they work together? Like they thought, well, you know, I've worked all these years. I should be able to retire. Off what money? Off what investments? That is the new retire. You can retire when you have the investments to retire. Period. So a lot of you hate me talking about buying houses. You don't want to invest in Lending Club. You don't want to invest in any things. You can have what Aaron Clarey's book is called, Poor Richard's Retirement. For a lot of people, that's going to be fine. A paid off house and a paid off car. And what are you seeing in the news? You're seeing a lot of elderly people getting kicked out of apartments because the apartment in Los Angeles or San Francisco or California all of a sudden got regentrified, and no longer will they have elderly people or Section 8 or any of these other things. They're only going to have high tech incomes there at that apartment. We've all seen that happen. So again, knowledge and information and grit and all those things, I mean, we can pull it all together. But again, if you got the knowledge, great. Do you have the experience? Have you tried it? Have you tested it? You know, saying you're afraid to lose money. I mean, well, if you're afraid to lose money, the only thing I can really recommend to you to do is just pay off your house and pay off your car and live there forever. Live there forever. Because investing is risk and reward. So again, listen, this week we have the marijuana course coming along. Many of you are going to see the impact it makes in the economy via farming, via cash crop, via schools, via healthcare, via medical, via everything. It's going to affect so many states. There's a vote pushing through, I think, Wyoming, Illinois in November. A lot of states are having a vote this year. So you can decide, Erica, I'm going to be on the front side of that technology and enjoy it. Or I'm going to be talking about stuff like Apple. You ever meet people say, I could have bought Microsoft back in the day. I could have bought Apple back in the day. I could have bought Google when it was cheap. Yet they're telling you from a perspective of something they did not do. We all know adults who say, you know what, if I would have did this, if I would have did that. You don't have to be that person. You're watching this channel. You're different. You are educating yourself. So take action. Grab a smartphone book. If not, grab that book. I'll have a link below with all the other books I've read in the past, I've used for my knowledge, and you can choose from one of those books. You don't have to choose my book. There's plenty to choose from there. So, look, you guys, this is Erica, Classy Climb Blog. I'll see you guys tomorrow on a Freedom Friday, hopefully with some nice surprises. Later.